Veterans Day ceremony. We so appreciate you being here. We have a beautiful day. No rain, no snow, no wind. It's absolutely beautiful. So first and foremost, would all veterans and those currently serving please raise a hand? Keep them up, guys. All family members of these veterans, please raise their hand as well. Including my family. Thank you. Thank you from all of us here in our beautiful town of Winthrop by the Sea. We have many people to thank, and I'm going to go through the list in a few minutes, but as veterans and current military, we put our families through so much, counting on them for never-ending love and support. I think back when I first joined the Army, and my father was like, what? So, and through my time in the reserves, with all the times I was either deployed or going to drills or doing other stuff because of the Army, I couldn't have done any of it without the support and love of my family, especially my mom and my kids, my husband. And they are still supporting me with what I do today for Veteran Services in Winthrop. So other than being a mom, it's my second favorite job here. So, and I totally appreciate the honor that I have to serve all of my fellow veterans and their families. Thanks just doesn't seem enough. So we try to do little things that pay homage and tribute to our veterans. So if anybody walked around the corner, did anybody notice the 2 veteran parking signs? So because of Governor Baker and the BRAVE Act, and our town council adopting it, Massport for sponsoring it, our own DPW installed it. We have 2 dedicated parking spots for veterans, one for all veterans, one for disabled veterans, and I think that's pretty good. So. You'll hear more than once today how Massachusetts leads the charge in veteran services for the nation, so I won't say that. Our flagpole had been broken because of this last storm, and our own Rich Tafuni and Steve Keller from our DPW and their staff worked tirelessly up until Friday to get it working. So we thank them for that as well, because they do a lot for veteran services. So now we're going to continue with the program. I just want to give a shout out to our police department, our fire department, our dignitaries, of course, and all of you for being here. Our scouts, football team, way to go, guys. Nice to get here tonight. And I'm going to introduce Dave Kennedy. He was Coast Guard retired, who's going to do our invocation. Dave?
Thank you, Rose. O God of hosts, we bow our heads in thankfulness for the victories you have granted us, to us and to the peoples who have united with us to stamp out the evils of aggression, intolerance, and greed. We beseech you to bring the blessings of understanding to the families and friends here and in other lands, of those who have given their lives, that men may be free. Amen.
Amen.
Next up, we're going to have the Boy Scouts and the Cub Scouts up here to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Cody, you're gonna come.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Great job. Next up, I'm going to have one of Winthrop's favorite veterans, Sergeant Bill Fury, United States Marine Corps. He's going to lead us in the national anthem. "90 years young." "90 next month," he said.
Yeah, really.
I don't want to make me older than I am. Please join in. Oh,
Attention.
can you see by the dawn's early light was so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we walked were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave. Anyone wants to bring a big box $5 they can.
Thanks, Bill. Marine, you know. Happy birthday to the Marines yesterday. Saturday night, we also had our dinner at Supper Cafe, courtesy of American Legion. And we had a nice showing, so thank you all for coming. It was just a chance to get together and have a nice meal. So it's my honor and my pleasure to introduce our next person, because her office has been so helpful to me with my job. I have a lot of difficult cases that I do when it comes to veterans benefits. And I can't thank her enough and her office enough, especially her aide, Jonathan House, for assisting me with all these difficult cases. The VA doesn't see it clear and cut and dry like I do. So sometimes it takes a lot of convincing. And with the help of this person's office, things get done. So our own, very own House of Representatives, Congresswoman Catherine Clark.
Good morning and happy Veterans Day. Thank you, Roseanne. Thank you to my speaker for life, Robert DeLeo, Senator Von Corey, Town Council President Vecchia, to all the Town Council members present here, our police and fire, opposite way, police and fire. We are just so delighted and to be with our town administrator as well. And most especially to our veterans, their families, and this incredible community who supports you. It is a privilege to get to represent you in Congress and be part of the larger Winthrop community. I want to extend a special thanks to the American Legion Post 146 who have brought us together today for this wonderful tribute to our veterans. Because today is really about thanking our heroes, recognizing the tremendous contributions of men and women in the uniform and the contributions of their families. Because of their service and sacrifice, we live in a country that is free and safe. And while we celebrate the veterans in our community today, we also pay solemn tribute to those servicemen and women who made the ultimate sacrifice and fell in the line of duty. Those in uniform have fought for us. Their families sacrificed for us. And today and every day, let's make sure they know they came home to a grateful nation. We owe the highest debt of gratitude And as citizens of the Commonwealth, our duty is to do right by all who have served. And that means that we look out for our active service members, and as they transition to becoming veterans, we make sure they have a place to come home to, the health care that they deserve, and help with starting a family and a business. Let me tell you just a brief story for where sometimes the federal government falls short. We have a program called Aid in Attendance. It is about getting our low-income senior veterans help with in-home nursing aides or a nursing home. It is a 90-page application, and one wrong mark can mean that you can wait a long time to get benefits. That is the type of process that we have to do better, to work with our VSOs across the Commonwealth and our district, like Roseanne, to make sure that we get those services to our veterans in a timely way. We have to make sure they risked everything for us and that we live up to their service standard. So today is a fitting tribute to those who fought to defend our freedom, and a steadfast reminder that it is our nation's solemn duty to uphold the promises that we've made to men and women in uniform. And I think Veterans Day is just the day we need in our country, a time to pause, reflect, and to honor those who put their service first, something truly noble. They put their lives on hold and at risk to uphold those shared American values of equality, liberty, and justice for all. I am so grateful to be here with you today. I hope you will consider me and my office a partner in our work for veterans. And I am so, so grateful and privileged to get to represent Winthrop in the halls of Congress. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Next up, I'd like to introduce someone who needs no introduction, and that would be the Speaker of the Massachusetts House of Representatives, the Honorable Robert DeLeo.
Thank you very much, Richard, for that very kind introduction, and thank you all for being here today as we honor the men and women who have served our country so bravely throughout our history. And it is indeed an honor and pleasure to be joined by our outstanding Congresswoman, who I had the pleasure of serving with in the House, and that's Catherine Clark. She's doing a tremendous job for us in Washington. Thank you, Madam Congresswoman. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank all of our counselors here today. Ron Vecchia and Linda Caller in particular, both of whom will be, I was going to say retiring somewhat, but I'm not sure if you both will, but thank you for being here. To Rich Farino, our President Phil Boncory, Peter Christopher, our Town Manager, Austin Faison, and of course my friend and colleague who works with me on veterans issues and so many issues, State Senator Joe Boncory as well. Thank you so much. Our Veteran Service Officer, I know we have Rose, who every day is watching out to make sure that our veterans are protected and they get the services that they deserve. And I know we also have the Revere Veteran Service Officers, Mark Silvestri here today as well. To the Boy Scouts and to the police and the fire and the football team and so many people who come out, thank you so much. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank a gentleman who became the president of the Veteran Services Officers throughout the whole state, Norman Gill. Thank you so much, Norman. I also, most importantly, want to thank
all of our servicemen and women who have put themselves in harm's way all over the world to protect our great country. On behalf of the Commonwealth, I would like to express our gratitude to our servicemen and women and their families for their loyalty and sacrifice to our great country. Your bravery has protected us here at home, and no words can ever fully repay you. For these reasons, it remains so important that we remain committed to giving back to our veterans. When they come home, we want them to know that they will be guaranteed the best services that this nation has to offer. I'm proud of everything that we do here in Massachusetts for our veterans. As was mentioned earlier by Rose, we are consistently rated as the #1 state in the nation for veterans and military benefit services, and that is something we are so proud of. We have done so much in regard to the BRAVE Act, the HOME Act, and the VALOR Acts, which all have expanded opportunities and services for veterans, military personnel, and their families. Just this past week, we passed some legislation in the House. The first requires the University of Massachusetts Medical School to create a continuing education program to train public higher education counselors on the symptoms of conditions like PTSD and available resources for treatment. The second establishes a commission to design a memorial in the State House for Deborah Sampson. Deborah Sampson was a hero for the American Revolution who disguised herself as a man in order that she could serve her country. And I know with the support of our great Senator Boncory, we're going to make sure that both of these pieces of legislation end up on the governor's desk. Right, Senator? We were on with you on that. And I mean that sincerely. That's not a joke. I know with Senator Boncory, that's just going to happen. In passing legislation such as this, we are sending a message to our veterans that we know they are out there, and we appreciate their bravery, and we appreciate their sacrifice. More importantly, we are supporting those who have supported us during our country's most trying times. It's an honor to be with you here today to offer our profound thanks for those serving today and those who have served our country throughout the years, some making the ultimate sacrifice on behalf of our nation and its people. And by the way, I don't think Bill Fiore has missed a beat in terms of singing of the national anthem each and every day. Winthrop is a home to hundreds of men and women who have served in our nation's armed services. These courageous Americans have the distinction of being defenders of our freedom and are deserving of more than the special recognition that we offer them here today. Each and every day, when I go to the State House, I think of our patriots who have given so much to ensure that we remain free, that we can enjoy the liberties bestowed upon all Americans. And that's why I ask you today to remember how we live in the greatest country in the world. President Kennedy himself, a World War II veteran, once stated, "As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not just to utter words, but to live by them." We must always remember those words. I hope that you will take some time to thank all of the veterans who have gathered with us and all of those in our community. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for your continued support of our servicemen and women. And may God bless our great town, our great Commonwealth, and may God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Bob. So appreciative. Now, it's also my honor to present one of my favorite senators that I've ever known, actually the top one, Joseph Boncory, who also does so much for veteran services.
Thank you, Rose, and thank you, Richard, and to the entire American Legion Post for being here today, as well as our, let's give it up for the American Legion. All nations, not just today, but every day, supporting veterans, more than 2,000 veterans in our hometown of Winthrop. I also want to thank, told me to keep it very short. I also want to thank the Winthrop Police Department, the Winthrop Fire Department, for taking the time out to be with us today. I know a lot of them have served in our armed forces, and we're fortunate to have them still in service. I too want to thank our great Congresswoman Catherine Clark. Although I didn't have the great pleasure of serving with her at the State House as she exited the Senate just before I came in, I have had the opportunity to work with her in her new capacity. How proud we should be to see her on Speaker Pelosi's leadership team representing our town and really working every day to fight for veterans. My office always uses her as a resource when it comes to the VA, as I know Roseanne does as well. And I just want to thank you for taking the time out of all the towns, cities you represent to be with us and with her today. Thank you. And of course, to the town leaders and officials that are here today, including Council President Ron Vecchia, Councilwoman Linda Calla, who epitomized selfless service to this town. I know Linda has been on the council since its inception. You're going to be a huge loss in leaving us, but we know and we believe in this town, and it will go forward. And same to you, President Vecchia. Thank you for your service, not just to our town, but to our nation, as I know you're a veteran as well. Today, we celebrate Veterans Day, and we celebrate all those in our country who've put on the uniform and defended so selflessly the ideals that our country represents. Throughout history, for decades and generations, young men and women have gone off to war, to places they've never known, to defend people that they never met. And we recognize that today, but we really should recognize that every day. And I'm fortunate and lucky to represent a town like Winthrop that does recognize that each and every day through the commitment we have to veteran services in this town. Today we salute all veterans and keep in our thoughts and prayers the fallen and the missing who are even serving today in the war in Afghanistan, which is currently the longest war in our nation's history. But remembering veterans isn't just what we say today, it's what we do, and it's how we live our lives every day that best serves and recognizes veterans. And we are fortunate to live in a Commonwealth, as the speaker alluded to, that is #1 in this nation providing veteran services. And that just doesn't happen without great leadership. And we're so fortunate to be represented in this town and really on the Commonwealth level by Speaker DeLeo. During his term as Speaker of the House, in the past 4 sessions, has passed 4 separate individual acts under his leadership that make Massachusetts the greatest state in the country for veteran services. So I think we owe a great deal of gratitude to our Speaker, Bobby Winthrop. Because that's a sacred trust as Americans that we owe to those who defend our ideals. That's a sacred trust that was forged by the soldiers and airmen who liberated Europe. That's the sacred trust that is epitomized by Marines, and to all you Marines out there, happy birthday. Marines who embody that in Iwo Jima, to Coast Guardsmen who defend our shores. That is the sacred trust, that we can do for them what they have done for us, that we can try and do that. And I do see some gentlemen in front of me and ladies in front of me, some veterans who embodied that and defended that freedom and liberated those countries in Europe and the East. So I want to thank you. And I want to thank you today, and we should pay special homage to you today. On behalf of my generation, on behalf of the men and women who are still fighting for my generation in Afghanistan, we owe a great debt of gratitude to you. Because we know when you return from war, the veteran services just weren't there. People looked at veterans in a very different way 50 and 60 years ago, and even longer, Delbrook. But because you came home, and because of the work you did in advocating for yourselves, and we know it wasn't easy. We know it wasn't easy on yourselves, on your families. We know some of your wounds are visible, but more likely than not, they weren't visible wounds that you suffered with. And the country and the Commonwealth didn't provide you those services. But it's because your advocacy since then, you know, not having a pity party for yourself, but getting out there, advocating through the American Legion for the essential services you needed, that future generations and my generations has that benefit. So I want to thank you today. This town, on behalf of a grateful town and on behalf of a grateful Commonwealth, we salute you today. Thank you. To all veterans out there, I just want to thank you for your services on behalf of the Massachusetts State Senate. Thank you for your service. We owe you a great deal of gratitude today and every day. God bless you all, and may God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Joseph.
Next up, we're going to have our current town council president, Ron Vecchia, also a Vietnam veteran, U.S. Air Force. Good to have you aboard, Ron.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is always a thrill to be here to represent the town council on this important event every year. We take time on Veterans Day to honor our veterans. I am always so impressed by the amount of people that show up in this little town of Winthrop. It's something very, very special, and it's something that we should all cherish. This is my last Veterans Day as town council president, but I've been attending these ceremonies since I was a little kid. And I remember coming here as a little boy, looking at all these gray-haired men and gray-haired women that have, you know, served this great nation. And now it's kind of like reversed roles, that I'm a veteran here, thanking you all. But truly, on behalf of the town council, on behalf of the citizens of Winthrop, we thank our veterans from the bottom of our hearts, and especially Rose and Richard and my fellow men and women of the wonderful American Legion that every year make sure that we never forget our fallen veterans and our veterans that are still with us. So again, on behalf of the town of Winthrop, thank you for coming, and God bless America. God bless this little town of Winthrop.
Thanks very much, Ron. Next up, we're going to have Tina Marie Talvey, front and center. I want to thank Tina every time Memorial Day, Veterans Day. Tina's there to lend a little beautiful music. Thank you very much.
It's an honor for me to be here. Please sing with me. Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea.
Thank you very much, Tina. Next up, Jamie Bauer, U.S. Army, Winthrop President. Welcome, Jamie. Jamie's a captain in the U.S. Army, active duty. Welcome aboard.
Tomorrow we gave our today. This is the epitaph written on the tombstone of a fallen American warrior. It is why it's important this Veterans Day to reflect upon tomorrows left to us by thousands of brave and selfless servicemen and women who paid the ultimate sacrifice fighting for our nation's freedoms. President Woodrow Wilson, filled with what he described as a solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in our country's service, established what was then called Armistice Day. That was 101 years ago, now called Veterans Day. It has since been observed each November 11th, the date the guns fell silent in World War I, the war to end all wars. Of course, it was not our last war. In every era since, freedom has been threatened, and a new generation of warriors have stepped forward in freedom's defense. It is another world war and a subsequent campaigns against tyrants, totalitarians, and terrorists. Our soldiers and airmen will be called on to serve the nation in difficult, distant, and dangerous battlefields across the globe. People like my father, Zane Bauer, who was a World War II veteran in every campaign and served as a scoutmaster until his last days here in Winthrop. Arthur Greenlaw stormed the beaches of Normandy. He returned here and served as a police officer until his final days. People like Rich Honan, who served in Vietnam and spends every last minute he has putting together care packages for soldiers to bring a little bit of home to them. They're teachers, lawyers, and first responders in their civilian life. But foremost, they are veterans. They are part of an elite group who have served honorably to our nation's call to arms and continue to play a vital role in the world's greatest military. Yes, these are the same servicemen and women you saw rescuing neighbors, clearing heavily damaged roads, restoring power, and delivering food and water after Hurricanes Katrina and Maria. They also are partnered with 80 nations around the world, helping to strengthen our allies through the State Partnership Program. Typically observed in the 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month, Veterans Day honors every man and woman who has ever worn the uniform for our nation. As we all know, security doesn't just happen. It demands effort, sacrifice, courage, and commitment. Today we salute the service of all the veterans, and we keep our thoughts and prayers for the fallen, the missing, and those who are currently serving in harm's way. We also remember that honoring those who have served isn't just about what we say here today. This service and heroism has been demonstrated time and time again by veterans from the American Revolution to the global war on terrorism. For many veterans, protecting our nation's way of life was important enough to endure long separations from their families. Miss the births of their children, freeze in sub-zero temperatures, bake in deserts, lose limbs, and far too often lose their lives. Those who defend us from our enemies must be supported, whether the service was in Baghdad or Bagram. We need to serve the veterans as they have served us. Our veterans do not ask for much. The benefits they have earned are a mere drop in the bucket compared to the financial and human cost of war. And while not all veterans see war, all those served in the military support those on the ground each day and that are ready to go if called. There are many ways to repay their sacrifice. Show your support for these great men and women by hiring a veteran, visiting a VA hospital, or donating to a veterans program. Employers know it is smart business to hire veterans because of the skills, leadership, and discipline they bring to the workplace. While our debt to these heroes can never be repaid, our gratitude and respect must last forever. As we are abundantly aware, we do not live in a utopian society. Unfortunately, the United States has to go to war to protect our way of life. No one dislikes wars more than the people who have to fight them. But history will also tell you that wars have liberated slaves, stopped genocide, and toppled terrorists. Fewer than 10% of Americans can claim the title of veteran, less than 1% of our population currently defending our freedoms. Veterans have given us freedom, security, and the greatest nation on earth. Can a business executive Ivy League graduate claim to have more responsibility than a 21-year-old squad leader leading a walking point on patrol in Afghanistan? Today's soldiers and airmen will be remembered for the compassion and restraint they exercised in Iraq and in Afghanistan, in the face of constant provocation from ruthless enemies, while in the unforgiving glare of a 24-hour news cycle and coffeehouse propagandists. We must remember that we must appreciate them and and all deserve our thanks and respect. So this November 11th, reflect with pride on the service and accomplishments of our veterans. If you meet a veteran, please be certain to thank them for all they have done for us, for our countries, and for the military and our nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you very much. Next up, we're going to have the Emblem Club is going to present the memorial wreath.
Thank you, ladies, for being here, as always.
The Emblem Club, I run a care package program, and the Emblem Club helps me every month. They give me a check for help with postage and 2 or 3 or 4 shopping bags full of items that make their way overseas. This coming Wednesday, they're coming to my old sign shop to help me pack some mini care packages that are going to be going to all over the world. So I want to thank you very much. Let's have a big round of applause for the Emblem Club. Thank you very much, ladies.
So, quick story about Anne Marie Gardner. Her brother, Bob, and I served for 15, 16, 17 years together in our criminal investigation unit, and we always went out in teams, and he and I were together for many, many years, and I consider him a brother. And thank you, Anne Marie.
We consider you a sister.
Thank you. And now, if you would all join me in bowing our head, taking a moment of silence for those veterans who are not here with us today physically, but are here in spirit and are always watching over us. Thank you so much.
Good job, Rose. I just want to remind everyone that, yes, we do have a big care package program here. Many of you have contributed or helped come to my sign shop to help fill care packages. Been doing it now going on 18 years, and I'm just getting ready to pack up approximately 40 Christmas trees that are going to be going all over the world. They'll be going to Korea, Japan, Kuwait, Iraq, Afghanistan, Somalia, Djibouti, Latvia, Poland. These Christmas trees are going to not only Winthrop residents, they're going to people that have roots to Winthrop. They are your nephew, your brother-in-law, your neighbor's son. And I just want to emphasize that if you have somebody that you know who's serving overseas, we can really put a smile on their face. But if you don't give me a name and an address, we can't send them one. And but this is, like I say, going on 18 years now, and we've sent a little over almost 43,000 pounds of care packages. And I may be a catalyst, but it's you people that are behind me that make it possible. I mean, or whether it's postage or somebody comes up to me and says, "What can I get you?" I say, "Give me some Cracker Jacks." And somebody the other day got me 40 cans of cranberry sauce, animal crackers. No one in the military is starving. These are all comfort foods. These are all to let our men and women who are serving far from home know that we remember them. All right? So if you know of somebody serving overseas, don't assume I have their name. Just get it to me, tell me a little bit about them, their hometown. I'll put a smile on their face, a smile in their heart, and a smile in their stomach.
Also, every month we run a Veterans Food Bank. And many of you make monthly donations, and I so appreciate it. And many of you volunteer their time to help pack food. And we have about 75 families that we serve in town. And no one gets refused. It's not, I don't care how much money you make. If you're a veteran or a veteran's family and you need some assistance, please reach out to my office. It's usually the first Wednesday of every month. And I have a number of volunteers who are there every month, including the Constantino family who brought me flowers and candy today. A lot of my American Legion members, they're there every month, and we put together these food packets and we distribute them. And I so appreciate that. So if you know of a family that's struggling, please reach out to me and we'll take care of that. Okay? And now I'd like to introduce our commander of the American Legion Post, 146, Bill Brown. Now's the time to cover your ears, folks.
Fire. 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 Reset. Fire. Attention. Reset. Fire. Order.
Thank you, American Legion Post 146. Another thing, the Chamber every year honors veterans. And this January we'll be honoring World War II and Korean War era veterans. So please, if you are one, if you know one, please get to me their name and their phone number so I can pass it along to our Chamber of Commerce. So you got that, Norman? So I need your help with this because there are many who aren't with us today that are at home. So we'd like to bring them out and honor them. Richard?
We're going to have Tina Marie Talvey up here to close the services. And one thing I want to mention, someone asked me the other day, they said, how much does it cost to send one of these Christmas tree care packages to a serviceman overseas? It costs nothing. It doesn't cost anything. So don't be, not a financial thing you have to do. What do I need? All I need is an address. All right, thank you very much.
Please sing with me.
spacious skies, far amber waves of grain, far purple mountain majesties, over the fruited plain. But now wait a minute, I'm talking about America, sweet America. You know, God done shed his grace on thee. He crowned thy good. Yes, he did. Heavy brotherhood from sea to shining sea. You know, I wish I had somebody to help me sing this.